So obviously, breaking news this morning with the U.S. and us taking Nicolas Maduro. Just what is your initial reaction? Where were you when you found out this morning? It happened in the early overnight hours. So
yeah, I was at home in Louisville when I found out, and the first thought again is America does not want or need another unjustified, endless war that's fought for oil.
And so your statement, actually, you talked about how former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez, he'd been convicted on pretty similar drug trafficking charges, but pardoned by President Trump. And then now we have this situation unfolding. Kind of talk about those parallels that you mentioned in your statement.
Yeah, I mean, look, Donald Trump said this is about drugs, but just this past month, he pardoned the Honduran president, who is a massive drug dealer, been convicted of it. And so, you know, when you do that, you can't say that this is all about drugs. And then, of course, what he said after we found out it happened. He said, this is for oil. This is for regime change. I think that's an important point, too, because they had not been saying it before then. In fact, Secretary Hegseth and Secretary Rubio, they came in front of Congress and they said, when asked, this is not about regime change. They were lying then. And now we know what it's for. And we got to make sure that we are protecting American interests and Americans, right? We saw in the last 25 years what happens when you go fight an endless war over oil. It is thousands of American lives lost and trillions of American taxpayer dollars spent. And so that's not what we want to see happen in Venezuela.
Yeah. And so was Congress warned about any of this? And should Congress have been warned about what unfolded this morning?
Yeah, no, Congress was not warned about this, and Congress must be informed. I think this is a really important point because this is not just some, clause in some statute somewhere. This is fundamental to our country, that Congress has the ability to declare war. And why is that? We're the branch that's closest to the people. It's a really, really tough vote. It should always be a tough vote to say whether or not the United States should go to war, because we are sending our sons, our daughters, our husbands, our wives, brothers, sisters off to combat, right? Well, when the president does that, when he makes these actions, he's not going to run into people. When members of Congress do it, we're going to see you in the grocery store, across the street, in the carpool line. And you can ask us, why did that happen? There's direct accountability. That's why Congress has this power. The president does not have the power. He's abused it, and Congress should have the say in this.
Yeah, and there was reporting that there had been talks from like Susie Wiles and other people in the administration that they would warn Congress if we were to go into Venezuela. So what do you make of that, kind of what had been talked about, and then like what's happening now?
Well, I think, first of all, we can't debate what is happening, right? The president has put a naval blockade around Venezuela. We know that. He's been having strikes on boats. That's why they came to Congress in the first place. Now we know they have dropped bombs in the capital city. They have captured the ruler of Venezuela. And the president said in his address to the country, it's the largest attack since World War II. Those are his words. We know it's an attack. That is a military strike on another country. And it is clear that only Congress has the ability to authorize that. The president does not have that authorization from Congress, and therefore he shouldn't be doing what he is doing.
And then hearing from the president that the U.S. is, quote, running Venezuela, what does that mean? Is there any legal justification, to your knowledge, like for us to do that?
No, in fact, I was shocked. I mean, I'm watching this on TV just like everybody else. I was watching it in the kitchen. The whole family was around it. And I said, did he just say the United States is running Venezuela? And actually rewound it on the TV to make sure I heard him correctly, because in the midst of his rambling, he just says that. This is why it's so important. We do not want an unjustified, endless war that could cost American lives and tons of American taxpayer dollars just for the oil companies. That's what the president is now saying. We're running it, and we're sending in the oil companies. He doesn't have the ability to do it. He said why he's doing it. We've seen in the past, just recently, how that's not good policy for America. So Congress is back in session this year, starting this week, and obviously this is going to be something we take up.
And have you spoken to other members of Congress or other members of the Kentucky delegation that you can speak about what's been said between you guys or anything?
Sure, as you can imagine, I mean, like members of Congress have text threads or signal threads just like anybody else, and so those were kind of those were really on fire this morning. There's a lot of different thoughts, but I think people who want to make sure that America maintains its status in the world, make sure that we're looking out for American interests, make sure that we are using our military wisely, that we're protecting democracy here at home and America standing around the world. People are saying we don't need another unjustified, endless war. Congress has got to step in on this.
Yeah, and then Representative Andy Barr, he made a statement. He said that he, quote, applauds President Trump for taking decisive action to protect the American people from narco-terrorists seeking to poison and murder the American people. So a little bit of a different reaction from yours. What do you make of
No, I mean,
that?
look, Nicolas Maduro is not a good guy. Right? We know that. There's no debate about that. There's no debate in Congress about the fact we don't want drugs coming into this country. There's no debate. The debate is whether the president has the power to do this, whether the president is actually engaging in foreign policy that's going to be better for Americans. And so that's the debate that should be going on. And we don't want another endless war where we're going to spend tons of taxpayer money and cost a lot of American lives. And for what? Right now, the president has said it's for the oil companies. He hasn't been talking about those issues.
Yeah. And right now, do you think that Kentuckians and Americans need to be worried about what's going on, just, with what could happen in the future or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump has showed that he doesn't really care whether it's his reckless tariff policy, whether it's his reckless use of the military, whether it's his reckless use of law enforcement here at home. And so this is one where I hope that more Republicans start to stand up to him. We've seen it recently with Republicans standing up to him on releasing the Epstein files. Finally, 4 Republicans said, we should actually take a vote to lower the cost of health care. That's what we need to see some more of, and just do what's right. This isn't about who's winning, who's losing. This is about whether everybody in America is doing better.
Yeah. What do you think will be talked about when you guys are back in session in the coming week?
Well, I mean, look, the focus is going to have to be, we have to focus on a lot of things at once. Obviously, the Venezuela thing now is going to take up a lot of time and energy, but we still have to pass a budget by January 30th or else the government shutdowns. I'm not giving up on the fight to lower the cost of people's health care. So we're going to be focused on health care. We're going to be focused on the budget. We're going to be focused on what's going on in Venezuela. And all of them are important.
Yeah. Is there anything else I have not touched on that you'd like to add in, just about what we've seen unfold today, or just other, other things that you'll be addressing when you're back in session?
I think you've got it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. We
Cool.
appreciate it. Thank you.